Welcome back, friends. Today we are going to study about belt and chain drive, right? In belt and chain drive, we had already studied about the different introduction part of the belt and chain drive, the different kind of belts, belt drives, and different kind of chain drives there will be which are used to transfer the power, right? Now, also we have studied about the terminology which is used in belt drive and also chain drive to transmit the power from one shaft to other shaft. Also, we had studied about the length of belt required for the open belt drive and closed belt drive to complete the mechanism of the belt drive. Now we are going to study about the tension ratio of the belt drive, right? Which which tension ratio? To suppose here a belt drive is given, the upper side is the slack side, where the bottom side of the belt is a tighter side, right? So two sides, in the belt drive there will be two sides. One is the slack side and the second one is the tight side. So the tension in both side having different, means there are different tensions in slack side and tight side. So what is the ratio of tight side to tension slack side? We have to find, right? Also we are going to find or derive the equation of the maximum power transmission condition during the belt drive, right? So today we are going to study about this kind of thing. So first, the ratio of driving tensions. First is the ratio of driving tension for the flat belt drive, right? There are the equations are different for the flat belt drive and V belt drive. So we are going to derive the equation of the ratio of driving tension for the flat belt, right? So suppose here a pulley, which is a driven pulley, right? This is a driven pulley which is wounded by the belt, where two sides are given. One is the T1, which is a bottom side of the belt, and which is a tight side. So T1 is taken as the tension in the belt on the tight side, whereas T2 is the upper side of the belt and it is a slack side. So T2 is taken as tension in the belt on the slack side, whereas the theta is the angle of contact, or you can say a wrap angle of the belt. Wrap angle of the belt means the belt which is wounded on the pulley, belt which is wounded by the pulley, or you can say the angle which is generated due to the wounded of the belt or to the pulley is called as the angle of contact, or you can say the angle wrap angle, right? So theta is the wrap angle, and here delta theta. Here we are taking delta theta, the smaller portion of the angle, smaller portion of the angle. Why we are going to take? So suppose this is a circular part, arc A P Q B, right? This is the wrap angle contact, or you can say the contact of the belt to the pulley, arc AB, right? If you are going to make a smaller part of a circle, then it will be a straight line. This is a mathematical equation. This is a mathematical equation or mathematical assumption that if we are going to make a number of parts of the circle, then the smallest part of the circle is going to be a straight line, right? So we are going that assumption here and going to make a smaller part at delta theta. We are going to make a smaller part delta theta. So so here, after taking the delta theta, we are taking 2 points, P and Q, which are means the PQ is the smallest part of the circle, or you can say the PQ is the smallest part of the arc, and it is a straight line. It is taken as a straight line. So the tension, so the tension which is produced here at the tight side is a T plus delta T. At the tight side is a T plus delta T. Why we are going to take a T plus delta T? So suppose first is here, T is the tension which is produced in the slack side. Suppose T is the tension which is produced on the slack side at the smallest part of the circle, and here the tension which is produced in the tight side is always greater than the slack side, and the part is the delta theta. So the delta T, the amount of the tension which is delta T should be greater than the tension which is produced in the slack side. So in the tension, T plus delta T should be produced in the tight side, right? So the assumption, as per this assumption, the equilibrium conditions in the equilibrium conditions, the forces which is produced is tension T in the belt P, right? So at P, or you can say this in the slack side, the tension T is produced. At the tight side, or you can say at the Q, the tension which is produced is T plus delta T. Normal reaction, which is generated is Rn. Frictional force which is generated F, which is F equal to mu into Rn. F equal to mu into Rn. Right? So if you are taking a free body diagram, if you are taking here a free body diagram, so here this is a free body diagram, right? So the F, which is a normal, or you can say the perpendicular force which is acting at the opposite direction, above direction, right? Or you can say it's a upward direction, which is F is equal to mu Rn. At the horizontal direction Rn, which is taken as the normal reaction, T plus delta T is the tension which is produced in the tight side, and the angle which is generated is delta theta by 2, and T is the tension in the slack side, and having the delta theta by 2 which is generated angle as the delta theta is the angle between the arc, right? So we have to solve this equation, or you can say if the position is in equilibrium condition, then the summation of the forces, or you can say the vertical forces and horizontal forces should be in the equilibrium. So the upward forces, the value of summation of the total upward forces is equal to summation of the downward forces, or also the same as the horizontal. So we are taking resolving all the forces horizontally equating the same, right? So at either both side, the summation of the forces are equal. So we are taking here in this direction horizontal, there are one force is produces the Rn. There is one force is produces Rn, normal forces, right? Normal reaction. And in this direction, opposite direction, the force which is generated are forces which is generated are, one is the T, tension in the slack side, right? So this component is taken as uh, hypotenuse, right? This is the hypotenuse and this is the opposite direction. So sine, there is a sine angle. So the taken as T plus delta T, or you can say T sine delta theta by 2. The component is T sine delta theta by 2, and this component is t plus delta t sine delta theta by 2. So the normal reaction force, which is Rn, equal to t sine delta theta by 2 plus t plus delta t sine delta theta by 2. Same as we have to equate the vertical forces then the vertical forces are F. In upward direction the forces are F, and also the vertical direction forces is T cos delta theta by 2, and downward direction the force is T plus delta T cos delta theta by 2, right? So first we are going to resolve the horizontal forces. We are going to resolve the horizontal forces as we are going to resolve this t plus delta t sine delta theta by 2 means t sine delta theta by 2 plus delta t sine delta theta by 2, right? If we are taking sine delta theta by 2 is equal to delta theta by 2, then the sine is going to remove. Why? Because the delta theta is the very small angle. As per we discussed, we are going to take a smallest part of the angle, right? So the delta theta by 2 is equal to sine delta theta by 2 is equal to delta theta by 2. So t into delta theta by 2 plus delta t into delta theta by 2 plus t into delta theta by 2. But here, if two smaller value going to multiply, then the answer what we get is very low or very small, right? So we are going to neglect this value delta t into delta theta as compared to the t delta theta. So we are getting the value is t delta theta, right? Now, resolving the force vertically we have is mu into Rn is equal to T delta T cos delta theta by 2 minus T cos delta theta by 2. As if the angle delta theta is very small as per we discussed, and as per we taken the delta theta having a very small value. So the cos delta theta by 2 is taken as a 1, right? Whereas the sine delta theta by 2 is taken as delta theta by 2. But if the angle is cosine, then the value of cosine delta theta by 2 is equal to 1, right? So if we are open this bracket, so we can get t into 1 means t plus delta t minus t. So we can get the value is mu into Rn is equal to delta t, or you can say the Rn is equal to delta t by mu. But here the value of Rn is getting, we are getting the value of Rn is t delta theta, and here we are get Rn is equal to delta t by mu. So equating this both equation, we can get t delta theta is equal to delta t by mu, or delta t by t is equal to mu into delta theta. Now integrate both sides between the limits t2 to t1 and from 0 to theta respectively. So we can get del integration of t1 to t2 delta t by t is equal to mu integration of 0 to theta delta theta. Now why we are going to take integration from t2 to t1? Because t2 to t1 is the tension from slack side to tight side, right? T2 is the tension from slack side and T1 is the tension for the tight side. So the tension which is generated is in between from slack side tension to the tight side tension, and the wrap angle is varied from 0 to theta, right? So we are going to integrate that. The integration result is log e t1 by t2 is equal to mu theta, or t1 by t2 is equal to e raised to mu theta. Equation, the previous equation is can be expressed in terms of corresponding logarithmic to the base of 10. So we can get 2.3 log t1 by t2 is equal to mu theta The above expression gives the relation between the tight side and slack side tension in terms of the coefficient of friction and angle of contact. We remember that the equation T1 by T2 is equal to e raised to mu theta, right? Remember this equation because this is a very important question or very important equation. Sometimes in this exam there will be asked you that derive the equation T1 by T2 is equal to e raised to mu theta, right? Derive the equation T1 by T2 is equal to e raised to mu theta. So you have to derive this equation with the help of this theory, ratio of driving tensions for flat belt. Also, this equation is important as to solve the example, right? Sometimes you have given a slack side tensions, but not you are not going to given a tight side tension, or you have given the tight side tension, but you are not going to given a slack side tension. But in the example, you have the coefficient friction and wrap angle, so you can solve the slack side or tight side tension with the help of this equation. T1 by T2 is equal to e raised to mu theta. Now, the centrifugal tension which is generated, the centrifugal tension which is generated in the pulley due to the rotational motion of the belt drive. Since the belt continuously runs over the pulley, therefore some centrifugal force is caused, whose effect is to increase the tension on both tight and slack sides. This tension caused by centrifugal force is called as centrifugal tensions. Now we have to derive the how much centrifugal tensions which is generated in the slack side as well as the tight side. But the main important thing is the whatever centrifugal tension which is generated in the slack side and tension side, the value of the centrifugal tension generated in both sides has been equal, right? So the first, here the pulley, the smallest part of the wrap angle has been taken. Now the tension in slack side and tension in the tight side, at the both side, the tension which is generated is Tc, because the centrifugal tension, the value of centrifugal tension at the both side is it been equal. So we are taking a Tc at the both side. The delta theta by 2, delta theta by 2, due to this we are going to take on a small angle. The reaction angle is Fc, the centrifugal force, right? We know that the length of belt PQ, or you can say the length of PQ, right? We know that the length of arc is the angle wrapped by this arc multiply with the radius, right? So the radius is r and angle which is wrapped by the PQ is delta theta. So the length of belt PQ is r delta theta, right? And mass of the belt PQ is mr delta d theta, mr d theta. Centrifugal force acting on the belt, centrifugal force acting on the belt is mv square by r. Centrifugal, the equation of the centrifugal force, the equation of the centrifugal generalized equation, right? This is not the centrifugal force equation for this theory, but this is the equation for the generalized. Fc is equal to m mv square upon r, right? This equation Fc is equal to mv square by r is the generalized equation for the centrifugal force when the centrifugal force is generated, right? But here the m is the mass of the belt belt of PQ, or you can say this is m is the mass of belt PQ, which is derived as mr delta theta. So we are taking mr delta theta into v square by r. So it is the centrifugal force is equal to m d theta into v square. Why? Because here the r and r is going to be cancelled, right? So the centrifugal force is m d theta v square. The centrifugal tension Tc acting tangentially at P and Q keeps the belt in equilibrium. Now resolving the forces horizontally and equating the same, we have, if you are if we are resolving the forces horizontally, then the Tc sine d theta by 2, here also Tc sine d theta by 2 is equal to Fc. So the angle d theta is very small as per in the previous theory. So we are going to take sine d theta by 2 is equal to d theta by 2. So we have here 2 times Tc into d theta by 2. So we have only Tc into d theta is equal to Fc is equal to m d theta v square. Same here. See, sin d theta by 2 is converted into d theta by 2. 2 times Tc is here. Here 2 is going to be cancelled, right? So Tc into d theta is equal to m d theta v square. Also d theta and d theta is going to be cancelled. So Tc is equal to mv square. So what is the centrifugal tension which is generated in the belt at the slack side and at the tight side is Tc is equal to mv square. Note, this is the important things for the centrifugal tensions. When the centrifugal tensions is taken into the account, the total tension in the tight side, total tension in the tight side is going to taken as T1 is equal to T1 plus the centrifugal tension. Also the slack side tension is going to be taken as T2 plus Tc. And also you are going, whenever you are going to solve the power transmitted, when the centrifugal tension is going to be taken in account, then the power is T1 minus T2 into V, where T1 is the T1 plus Tc and T2 is equal to T2 plus Tc, right? So if we are going to take, if we are going to solve this equation, or you are open this bracket, so Tc is going to be cancelled and the equation is converted into T1 minus T2 into V, right? So this equation is same as before when we are not going to take the centrifugal force in account, right? So whenever you are going to take centrifugal force in account, then the power transmitted equation cannot be changed. Power transmitted equation cannot be changed, or and but the tension which is we are going to solve or we are going to take is changed, right? The ratio of driving tensions may also be written as Tt1 minus Tc, Tt1 minus Tc is equal to mu theta, right? Where Tt1 is the maximum or total tension in the belt which is generated into the belt drive, right? Now we are going to solve the relation between maximum tension and the strength of a belt, right? So the maximum tension which is generated is T1, and which is the total tension in the tight side of the belt, right? A later consideration will show that the maximum tension in the belt is equal to the total tension in the tight side of the belt T1, which is the tension of the tight side plus the centrifugal tension which is generated, where the sigma is the maximum safe stress in Newton per mm square, B is equal to width of the belt in mm, and T is the thickness of the belt in mm. We know that the maximum tension in the belt T is equal to maximum stress into cross-sectional area of belt, right? Means this is the general equation, or you this is the general equation, right? T is equal to maximum stress into cross-sectional area of belt, right? Which theory this is? This is this we had already studied in machine design and industrial drafting in the previous subject, previous semester. Sorry, the name was changed. The fundamental of machine design. In the fundamental of machine design, we had already studied about the principal stress theory. In the principal stress theory, there is the maximum stress should be the ratio of tension to its cross-sectional area. So same equation here is taken. The tension is equal to maximum stress into cross-section area of belt. So the maximum stress is a sigma and cross-sectional area of the belt is taken as BT, right? So T1 is taken as T1 plus Tc. Now here the power we know that the power transmitted by the belt is the equation of P is equal to T1 minus T2 into V. This equation is not going to be changed, either the centrifugal tension is acting or not generated, right? So the from the driving tensions ratio, T1 by T2 is equal to e raised to mu theta, or you can say that T2 is equal to T1 divided by e raised to mu theta. So the power, so the equation of power is converted is P is equal to T1 minus T1 divided by e raised to mu theta into V, right? Take the T1 as a common, so we have the T1 into 1 minus 1 upon e raised to mu theta into V, where if we are going to take 1 minus 1 upon e raised to mu theta as constant C, right? Now here we know that T1 is equal to T minus Tc, where the T is the maximum tension to which the belt can be subjected in the newtons, and Tc is the centrifugal tensions in Newton, right? We know that the power transmission transmitted by a belt, right, is equal, so the T1 is equal to T minus Tc. From the maximum power, Tc is equal to T upon 3, right? Right? So the P is equal to T minus Tc into V into C, right? Here we are going to substituting the value of T1, which is T minus Tc, which is T minus Tc. Now the P is equal to T minus mv square. The mv square is the value of centrifugal force, or centrifugal tension. Tc is equal to mv square into Vc. Now T into V minus mv cube. The m is multiplying in this bracket and C is the constant. Now to find the condition when for the maximum power transmission, so we have to differentiate above equation, differentiate this equation with respect to V and equate to 0, so we can get the condition when the maximum power can be transmitted. So dp by dv is equal to 0. So d by dv tv minus mv cube into c is equal to 0, right? So c is the constant, c is the constant value. So we can have here the derivation of tv is t, the derivation of mv cube is 3mv square, and c is the constant, so is equal to 0. So t minus, here mv square is the centrifugal tension, so minus 3tc equal to 0, or you can say, you can take the t is equal to 3c, which is the condition when the tension is thrice time of the centrifugal tension, then the power which is transmitted is the maximum, is the maximum, right? Or also you can take the equation, you can take as the equation which is generated for the velocity, right? So here, from here you can write as t divided by 3m, right, is equal to v square, right? So you can take as a v is equal to under root t upon 3m, same as here, v is equal to under root t upon m. If the velocity of the belt is going to under root t upon 3m, then the power which is transmitted from the belt drive is should be maximum, right? So these are the advantages of the v belt or the flat belt. This is the question you should be read, and this is the driving tension for the v belt is 2.3 log T1 upon T2 is equal to mu theta cos beta, right? Thank you.